At first, I just want to say thanks everyone for joining us today. Super excited to have Lee here presenting and talking to us about onboarding. When we had our webinar 2 months ago on creating candidate experience, I know onboarding was the really big thing that people wanted to sort of dive into after that webinar. So really excited to be able to talk about that topic with Lee here. And I'll let Lee do his introduction because he can do it much better than I can. But yeah, just super excited. He's going to talk about all these best practices for onboarding, what we can be doing here, simple tricks that like really any organization can do, from like your lean startup to your enterprise organization. So super, super excited for that. My name is Noah Warder. I'm the head of people here over at Gusto. And we're really excited to be running these webinars. We're just hoping that these webinars are helping you as HR professionals, do what you need to do every single day, because we do a lot, and we're hoping that we can provide value wherever we can, whether that's with these webinars, with the Gusto platform, or with just chatting with myself or our partners like Lee, who have a breadth of knowledge in these types of areas. So hit us up with your questions. We've got a few questions that people submitted when they signed up, but if you have any questions, start submitting them in the Q&A. And we'll get to those at the end of the presentation, and we're going to make sure that we have about 15 minutes to do all of that. Both myself and Lee will be talking about little promotions that we have and how to get in contact with us at the end of this presentation. So stick around to the very, very end. Just don't go anywhere. And sort of on that note, I'm going to turn things over to Lee, who will kind of take us through this journey on how to onboard our new team members.
Cool. Thanks, Noah. Yeah, so I'm here to talk about how to onboard like the best on a budget, because I like saving money. I am Lee. I am the co-founder and co-CEO at Onboard, but we'll talk a little more about me in a few slides. Disclaimer. So I'm not a big talker, but I talk when I have something important to say. So that's basically why I'm doing this webinar with you all. I want this to be collaborative. I want us to share ideas. I'll share some ideas, and I'm going to ask some questions to you to share some of your ideas. I'm action oriented, and I'm sure you all are too. So there are a number of templates that we can provide throughout this deck, and I think we'll share them afterwards as well. So the agenda: about me, why you should care about great onboarding. And then we'll dive into specifics around preboarding and onboarding. So who am I? Well, I'm Lee, wearing this Christmas sweater, and I forgot to put that on. So I've been in tech for over 6 years, in almost every role you can think of: developer, recruiter, people ops, and now co-founder at Onboard. I love hockey. I love running. And that allows me the ability to love butter tarts. And so in my most recent role as operations manager and scrum master, when I first started, we were experiencing turnover of over 50%. So I took this as a challenge and looked into it further. And I noticed that as new hires were coming into the door, it was an awful experience. So there's one gentleman who came in, it was his first day, and he didn't bring his laptop. So he commuted 1 hour to the office, came into our office, found out we were a bring your own device environment, basically signed some paperwork, and then an hour home. And then we managed to connect with him like just after lunch. So it was a big waste of a morning. Anyways, so I implemented a structured onboarding process, and as we quadrupled the size of our company, our turnover went down to 0%. At that point, I thought others must be experiencing this too. And 2 CBD drinks later in a park with my colleague and friend Evan, the idea for Onboard was founded. And now we're here today. So tell me who you are. I know Noah already asked this question a bit ago, but tell me, what's your role, company size, and the most fun question: what's your favorite baked good? I am trying to open the chat here, but I'm not a Zoom guy.
If you go into the three dots, there should be you should be able to open up the chat window. So we're getting some here. We're gonna people support specialist 350 plus, snickerdoodles, sales manager, scones 300. Whoa, awesome. Brownies, 100 people. I love brownies. Pistachio croissant. Oh, nice.
43, 50, 300.
Danish. Not picky. I mean, I don't. Awesome. Donuts. Are donuts a baked good because technically they're fried? I've had this argument before.
12. Nanaimo bars. Whoa, there's an out
Nice.
west favorite.
Lemon meringue pie, chocolate chip cookies, scones. All right, peanut butter cookies. What's a butter tart? Oh, Cynthia, you haven't lived if you've never had a butter tart.
It's a Canadian thing.
Oh, they're so good. Look it up, Google it. They're amazing.
Cool.
Fruity
Okay.
pastries. All right.
Okay, great to meet you all. Okay, it looks like we're ranging from about 12 to a few hundred. That's great.
We got 1,000, 1,000 team, so we're getting up there. Awesome.
All right, thanks for sharing, everybody. A lot of brownie love. All right, so I have another question for you. It's icebreaker time. Isn't that our favorite? What's the most fun thing you currently do for onboarding? Share your ideas. Noah, do you have a, oh.
I've got swag, Friday drinks.
Swag, weak answer, I know.
Truth and a lie.
Onboarding buddy.
Lunch, welcome lunch, swag welcome boxes. I'm not gonna lie, we don't do anything that fun right now. It's more of a the fun introduction at the first all hands meeting with the, tell us a little bit about yourself, something interesting, something that we wouldn't know. So that's the big one. A dance card, I like that.
None of it is fun. Well, good thing you're here. Dance card. I think that's risky, but cool.
Welcome tour. All right,
buddy. Swag and buddies and Friday happy hour seem to be.
Yeah, lots of food, lots of drinks.
Cool. All right, I feel like I know everybody now. All right, thanks. Thanks for sharing. All right, moving on. Why should we care about onboarding like the best? Well, happier employers are just better. Although finance may not go for this argument, it's an incredible feeling when morale is high, people are collaborating and virtually high-fiving each other. But here's an argument that finance will go for. Happier employees lead to greater productivity. Personally, I've seen this firsthand, but don't just take my word for it. There are a number of studies that have proven happy employees are up to 20% more productive. And when it comes to salespeople, it's even greater with an up to 37% increase in sales. Ultra competitive job market. If you don't empower your new employee to be able to contribute on day one or make them feel important to the team, you're putting yourself at risk of losing that employee. And that can cost anywhere from 50 to 70% of that new hire's salary. Another fun stat, if you have structured onboarding, there's a 69% chance that those employees will stay twice as long. Now, poll time.
Poll time. Here we go. So we're going to launch this poll. Please answer. We'll give you about 1 minute. It's anonymous, so just throw it up there. Let us know what you think. So those stats that Lee that you shared earlier, those are crazy. Like, just by putting in some process, can you really make your employees' lives a little bit better? We've got one question: overall or per employee for the spend?
Sorry, good question. Per employee.
Thank you. Make sure that when you're answering in chat, I should have said this at the beginning, that you switch it to panelists and attendees, not just panelists. That way everyone can see what we're all talking about and what we're answering here. I made that mistake, so please, you'll see it in at the very bottom right above where you actually type what your message is. Thank you. Awesome. Okay, we got about 5 more seconds. Get your answers in. All right, cool. I'm going to end the poll now and share those results. So it looks like most people are willing to spend 100 to 500, 500 to 1,000.
Okay. Okay, that's okay. We'll come back to this later. Can I keep this open? Oh,
I can reshare those results
yeah.
when we get to that point.
Okay, good. Okay, thanks everybody. So let's talk about preboarding. For those of you who are unfamiliar with preboarding, this is what we consider the things you do before that employee's first day. This could be 60 days out, 30 days, although today it pretty much feels like 3 days out. But anywho, let's talk preboarding. So getting the paperwork out of the way. As soon as the candidate has verbally accepted the offer, it's a great feeling to just get that paperwork out of the way. The employee's first day is typically a crazy, hectic one already. Get ahead of it, dot those T's, cross those I's. And ideally, you're using something like DocuSign or your HRIS to help you distribute these docs and get e-signatures. Please do not expect the employee to have a printer. It's just not a thing anymore. The rough cost of this is $15 a month. And this is not per employee. There's a reason why I'm showing you the cost on these things, and it's related to the poll, which will tie back in at the end. Welcome email and communications. So I know it's sometimes hard to remember our first day, but you really need to put yourselves in the shoes of the new employee. They just verbally accepted the offer. They signed all the paperwork, and now it's radio silence until the first day. That new employee is going to start thinking if they still have that job, if their first day is still going to be a thing. The new employee should never not know what's going to happen next. So keep them informed, keep them warm, and keep them excited. The second thing, make the welcome email fun. Like, have a template that you just copy and paste, asking them a few fun questions like, what's your favorite afternoon snack? Favorite dessert? If money weren't an object, what would you do with your time? And you know what to do. You know what you can do with these answers? You can add that favorite afternoon snack into their welcome package. You can also save that dessert idea for their birthday or work anniversary. So at a board, we actually get the new employee to share their answers via video with the broader team, and it gives them some points to talk to the new employee about. We also keep that favorite dessert card in our back pocket. So when it's their birthday, we send them their favorite dessert. And we've got templates to share with you. So wherever you see template linked here, you'll have access to that. Third point, communicate to your colleagues that you have new employees joining the team. I remember at one of my jobs, we had new employees knocking on the door, and I would literally ask them, like, how can I help you? They'd say it was their first day. I would scurry over to an open desk, wipe it off, look for a chair. And that's not a great first impression. So keep your colleagues in the loop. It can be as simple as a message in Slack or your instant messaging tool, or a simple email to the team. And the cost, 15 minutes of your time, $10 per employee. Send hardware and send swag ASAP. So if you provide home office items such as a laptop, monitor, desk, it's extremely necessary to get this to them before day one. So help them get their home office set up and make sure they're comfortable. If your new employee doesn't have their laptop for their first day, how much is that costing your company? Not just in dollars, but now your employee is thinking, oh my, is this the kind of company I'm working for? And Noah shared with me a few days ago, he was just wrapping up, I think, an HR accelerator. Am I saying that right? HR accelerator with Lars Schmidt.
Yeah, and in the chat there, people were sharing stats, and the one I couldn't find the source, but it was but I will share it here, but I can't find the source, was that if, employees who don't get their laptop before their first day or on their first day are 50% more likely to churn within the first year. So that's pretty major stat to look into.
Flip of the coin.
Yeah.
Thanks, Noah. Second, if you're sending swag, it really doesn't take much to personalize their package. Remember what I shared about the welcome email previously? Send them a box of their favorite afternoon snack. It's certainly a nice surprise. The cost of ensuring your new employee has this stuff is, we'll say, $20 to $100 per employee to courier or send in an Uber. Book meetings. So try and book some meetings for the new employees' first 3 days. It allows them to stay somewhat busy, gives them a chance to meet people, see how colleagues interact with each other, and give them an idea of how they fit into the bigger picture. Now, on day 4 and beyond, enable and empower your new employees to book their own meetings. Show them how to see other colleagues' calendars. Show them what calendar system you use. Share the meeting booking etiquette if you have that. At a board, the new employee must book certain meetings with team members throughout their first 2 weeks. So after their first 2 weeks, they fully know what to expect when someone says, can you book a meeting with X and Y? This might be the single most costly thing to do with your time, but it's, extremely important. And so the cost here, we budget at 1 hour of your time, and we say $40. So break time. If somebody has just tackled one of these pre-boarding components that I spoke about, we'd love to hear how you did it. Raise your hand and come up and share. We don't have any Price is Right music, but maybe I could hum along.
So let's let Jen Moss come in and give us a little.
Can you guys hear me?
We can hear you.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah. So, we do a little survey where we ask people, what book are you reading? Tell us a little bit about your hobbies and stuff like that. Not to mention, where you're from, because they're all over the place. And then we put together a little kind of a message that goes out to all the other people that we work with, and we include freelancers in our kind of mail out, just so that they can feel part of the group as well. And I really like that because it helps people feel it helps us get to know who we've hired. That selfishly, I think it's a neat thing to do. And then sometimes, depending on what kind of hire it is, we will send out a little bit of equipment. We're an audio company, so we send out gear sometimes and stuff like that.
Awesome. That's awesome, Jen. Thanks for sharing.
Yep.
All right. Let's get Aaron Smith up next. Aaron, you're up. You want to unmute? No. Oh, maybe they walked away. Okay, let's try Alana. Alana Marks. Alana?
Hey, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Awesome. Hi, guys. So I was the one that put in the little text box that we do swag, and then the weak answer, I know. We're trying to up our game, but that's why I'm here. So hopefully I can learn some more tips and tricks. We do an onboarding buddy. And so through our annual performance review process and kind of like check-ins with our teams, we figure out who wants to move into more leadership roles or who are looking to take on a mentorship role. And that's part of how we determine who our onboarding buddies are going to be. And we give our onboarding buddies a budget to help socialize our new employees for the first month specifically, but up to 3 months if they're in a remote or offsite role. And they can use that for things like taking them out for team lunches or other swag options. We give them standard swag at the beginning, but then there's other options that they can get kind of as they move through the onboarding process. But the onboarding buddy is new for us, so I can't really speak to how it's working because we're like 2 months in. It's been good so far, but we're still evaluating.
Awesome.
That's awesome. Thanks for
Thanks so
sharing.
much. All right. I think that was everybody who raised their hands. So if we want to keep moving on forward.
Yeah, let's do it. All right, now we're gonna get into onboarding. So when we're talking about onboarding here, I'm assuming day 1 and beyond. Expectations. Set those expectations up front. So the goal here is to help your hiring manager with onboarding their new team member, which will help you save oodles of time in the long run. So what do you expect from the new employee for their first week, first month, and what should they expect from you? Should they expect that you're available for questions throughout all hours of the night? Probably not. I hope not. Should they be able to speak to customers in week 2? So book some time with the hiring manager, handhold them a little, have them share these with the new employee on day 1. And this will end up being a great indicator as to seeing if this individual is a good fit or not. And we have a template for this. The next thing is share the onboarding roadmap with the new employee. So show them what their journey is going to look like. Is day 1 all video calls? Is day 3 all training? Share how things will look for their onboarding journey. Very important to just set those expectations. Cost, we say 1 hour of your time and we say 1 hour of the hiring manager's time. So $80. Learning. Again, enabling and empowering your new employees, this time to learn on their own. So this can be company learning, role learning, industry learning. Share the company overview deck with them and share intro to department decks with them. This may be a new thing, but we'll talk about this and we've got templates. Also, if your organization has any learning and development programs, this is also a great time to introduce it to them. Next thing, always ensure your employees have a fallback. So if they're not in a meeting, where can they go to learn? You should almost feel like you're allowing them to learn too much information about the company. Again, templates for company intro deck and intro to department decks. So we say 1 hour of your time to ensure the company deck and all the department decks are up to date. However, this may include pinging managers to make updates to these intro to department decks. So yeah, we can talk about that later if you have questions about that. Connecting. So it sounds like a lot of you are familiar with the buddy system, and that's amazing. Probably one of the most important things in onboarding, if not the most important. So it's a great way for the new employee to make a new friend, and it gives them an outlet to ask those silly questions. What time do people expect us to show up to work? Or do I always have to be on video, on calls? And when we're back in the office, where's the bathroom? So we have a buddy program, like a whole thing to share if you want. A couple things to keep in mind. We recommend selecting a person who's surely to represent the culture of the organization, the true culture, and making sure the buddy is someone not on their direct team. So it gives the new employee an opportunity to connect with people that they may not even see daily, weekly, or even monthly. And the buddy system is also another good way to relieve yourself of some duties. So saves you time. The next thing, scheduling some time for your new employees to meet with executives and leaders within the company. These are folks steering the ship. This is a great way to get your employees excited, passionate, motivated, and it makes them feel important. Having the CEO or leaders of the organization take 30 minutes out of their day to connect with a new employee helps give them a sense of belonging. And then the last thing on here on connecting, giving your new employees a chance to connect with other folks randomly within the company. So assuming a virtual world, well, regardless, if it's a virtual world, you can try something like Donut in Slack. Yeah. Cost, we say 1 hour of your time, and then $100 of executive time. And engagement. This is my favorite. So let's talk about how you keep that new employee engaged. Surveys, love them. Surveys are an incredible way to allow new employees to be heard, and it's a fun way to get some new ideas. So we have a number of templates for these. We have an interview process survey where we get feedback on a recruitment process, typically on like day 3, on like the employee's 3rd day. We have a week 1 survey to make sure the new employee is doing well and moving along. We have an awesome, like super fun week 2 questionnaire. This has some fun questions, like if you could find one gift to describe our company, what would it be? If you could take over our social media for the day, what would you post? You'll surely be in for a chuckle, hopefully. And lastly, we have an end of onboarding experience survey, which can give you some insights as to how to improve your onboarding. The next thing, so we started to introduce some games. So we took this bingo template and made it more general to fit any company. At a board, we have our new employees complete this within their first week and then reward them with a $20 gift card. So kind of gamifying it a bit. I also hear there's a great employee recognition platform. I think it's called Gusto for this. Maybe you can ask Noah about it later.
Thanks for the plug, Lee.
And then we also take 10 minutes at either like in the morning on Scrum or at our social to go through the answers with the team. And it's kind of funny to find out how they got the answers, if they just guessed them or it's funny. And then we've also built out a software scavenger hunt for our new employees to do. It basically has about 20 different tasks for the new employee to complete within our application. It gets them super familiar with the app, keeps them busy. And then they always find functionality and unfortunately bugs, but fortunately, unfortunately. And then we also take time on our social to go through this, since it's fun to see how they customize the app. Cost, 15 minutes of your time, plus the $20 gift card. So how much does it cost to create a great onboarding experience? Well, total cost of onboarding throughout what I just went through is roughly $375 to $455 per employee. So you all said you'd spend, I think this was the range, the 40%.
100 to 500.
Perfect. Couldn't have gone better. So when you consider the cost of losing a developer you just hired for, a large chunk of their salary, 50 to 70%. So 40K to 60K of the average developer salary. Do you think it's worth spending 1/100th of their salary to ensure they're onboarded like the best? And I know it's tough. Everybody's busy. Budgets are tight. But there is a clear ROI on great onboarding. So let's not neglect it. And the board is here to help.
Yeah. And a lot of those things that you mentioned, like they just, once you've kind of got them set up, that time sink goes down considerably. And then things like DocuSign, they fulfill multiple purposes. If you got a good HRIS, it can do a lot of this stuff. Or if you use it into like a board, it streamlines and sort of automates a bunch of it as well.
Exactly. And then, yeah, that's everything. Any questions?
So please throw some questions in the Q&A if you have any for Lee about onboarding. Add them in there right now. I'm going to jump into some of the questions that we got when people signed up. So I'm going to jump into those ones while we wait for more questions to kind of come in through the Q&A, or you can always also throw them into chat. So the first question we got when we got signed up was, do you have any tips for onboarding in a hybrid environment? So anything that, make sure that the experience is equal for your remote employees and for your in-office employees.
I think like if you plan on, or if you accomplish successfully onboarding virtually, then you're good to go for hybrid. You just take some of those activities and just make them in person, in my opinion. No, it doesn't seem like, I mean, it's not rocket science. Just if you can do things in person, then I definitely suggest that, because it's always better to go in person.
We got another one here. It's but how do you streamline the onboarding process but still keep it real and personal, responding to people as individuals? You touched on a little bit of this with like, the gamification, getting people to share some personal things about them, but anything else that you can, like, as HR leaders, we're really busy, but what are some small things that we can do to make sure that we're treating people as people and less as just a number in our onboarding pipeline?
Yeah, so like, I mean, not to plug a board, but I mean, this is why we're building a board. Like, I didn't want to, when I was onboarding people, I was spending my day, like multiple days onboarding people, like, and by onboarding people, I was doing a bunch of administrative work. And I wasn't spending any time with the actual new employee. So it was like, here I am onboarding them, but like, I'm not even getting to spend time with them. I'm just setting up documents and inviting them to things and, and sending emails. Like, so, again, a board, we're automating the boring, mundane things, so you can actually spend more time with those new employees and build those connections and feel more comfortable with those new individuals.
I love it. So like the automation actually makes it more personal because, like you said, you can actually spend the time to talk to somebody. You're not, oh, I got manual send this DocuSign. I got to send this. I got to send that. I got to talk to that hiring manager. That's awesome. We touched on this next question a bit about like onboarding buddies. There's a lot of chat, a lot of people talking about it in the chat. But how do you implement the program? So a lot of people said they have the program. So how do you get it going? How do you make sure that you're finding those buddies? How do you make sure that people actually want to do it? Because everyone's busy at a company, and sometimes asking someone to take extra time to onboard somebody might be too much. So how do you find those people? How do you make sure it's kind of like worth their while?
Yeah, there's a few different ways depending on the size of your organization. If you're bigger, you can actually have a buddy channel in your Slack, and you can sort of like rotate through buddies who have volunteered. It could be as simple as like sending an email blast to the whole company, sort of stating that you're looking for buddies and lay out those expectations of what should be expected from the buddy. And then, so you can have this group of buddies who you sort of rotate through, but at the end of our onboarding at a board and some of the surveys that we give out, we ask the employee if they'd like to become a buddy. And so it's just like a growing list of people who want to be buddies. But then implementing it, you'll have to reach out to us to find out more details.
Awesome. And then this question came in early on in the presentation, and so I just want to make sure that we address it here. Is this what do you say about giving new team members login access ASAP? So maybe before even their first day, so they've got their laptop maybe 2 or 3 days before their actually start date. Do you give them login access? Do you start inviting them into Slack and all those things?
Yeah, this is a hot topic. And we've spoken to so many HR and people professionals about this. It's really a split room. If they've signed everything and you're truly covered on like the security front, then I would suggest allowing them to access with their work email. I wouldn't ever give them access with a personal email address because those are security risks you don't want to get yourself into. but like I said, if they've signed everything, they've signed all the documents, you're comfortable with this new employee coming in, like you have hired them, you must have done some sort of recruitment process and background check and are comfortable with bringing them on. So, yeah, I mean, I would give them access to their newly minted work email. But like, I wouldn't expect them to like start working. You're just giving them that option, the opportunity. If they want to start exploring, then they can, but don't expect them to work.
I like that. That's kind of what we do is the week leading up to their first day, we start inviting them to all of the tools with the giant caveat of, we don't expect you to start working. We don't expect you to start interacting. This is just so that on Monday, when you come in, you can be as productive as you want to be, or you can spend Monday morning setting up all your tools. It's really a personal preference, and some people like doing that. So, yeah, awesome. So let's. Oh, go ahead, Lee.
Sorry, yeah, one more thing. I've also heard many people sharing that they invite the new employee to like a social the week before they start, just get them an opportunity to see how people interact, and then it's like kind of less pressure on day one when they sign on for that welcome call.
I like that. That's nice. Let's start. We got a few questions in the Q&A. So the first one, how do you get onboarding program buy-in from hiring managers? Hiring managers are busy. How do you make sure that they're kind of pulling their weight as well?
Yeah, I mean, really, you're trying to help them. Like you're overall, you're trying to help them. And so there's the answer right there in the chat.
show them these numbers. It's for them. I love it.
But really, like, try and put yourself in their shoes. And just, I mean, you kind of have to sell it. You have to sell it to them. You have to show them numbers. You have to show them ROI. So I don't know if I have any big points there, but
I think that's exactly what it is. Just like, this is for their team. And so if they can make sure that that team member is onboarded well, then that person is going to be more productive, quicker, and it's going to last longer on their team. So every hiring manager should be fully invested in this process, really. Okay. Let's the next one. I find it hard to balance the time it takes to really onboard properly with the actual time employees need to learn and do their actual jobs. So how can we help that balance? And I think we sort of touched on this a little bit of like automating things for, what needs that personal touch and what doesn't, and how can you find those people to help you out. But Lead, any other tips that you can figure out on how to sort of balance that hard piece to balance?
Yeah, again, I'm going to plug a board. Just like, so in a board, like the new employee has a fallback. They have a place to go to learn, to complete tasks, to learn about the company, the role, as much information as you want to include. Like, we totally believe in like self-directed onboarding, like empowering and enabling that new employee to learn on their own. And I think you'll notice, like, if they're not like learning on their own, if they're not like investing time into getting familiar with the company, then they're not going to make it past probation or their first 3 months. Like, so yeah, always have a fallback and let them access things so they can learn.
Awesome. I'm going to pull this one out of the chat because I think this is top of mind for a lot of people, even as we slowly start going back into this kind of new normal. But how have you found onboarding during the pandemic? We have found out that there is less opportunities for social get-togethers and creating organic ways for employees to meet. I think like the buddy system helps with this. Things like Donut and Slack help with this. But Lee, any other ideas that you have?
No, like Donut is a great way to randomize meeting people throughout the organization. It's much less cumbersome than you trying to organize that. Yeah, no, sorry.
All right. Yeah, and I think just like you said, donate for that randomization, and we invite new employees to share something about themselves with the all hands meeting, just to like, it's an actual face instead of just written text. So that helps. And then, making sure that you're just holding regular team get-togethers so that help that person integrate with their team members. I think it's always helpful.
They should also you should also be scheduling check-ins with a new employee for their first 3 months. I guess I didn't explicitly mention that, but for HR, I suggest like weekly check-ins with that individual. But with their buddy, they should be checking in like a 15-minute daily at a minimum for the first 3 months.
Love it. Okay, let's go to our next Q&A. Curious, do you ever worry about muddling the information a new hire needs to get them going, but still keep it fun? Finding it difficult to keep that right balance. So how do you make sure that they're getting everything they need, but make sure that it's not just like a stack of papers or virtual papers that they have to read through?
Yeah, and this is where we encourage like different kinds of content, like different methods of content, like bite-sized pieces. So like, and like different types of multimedia. So like, if you have like marketing videos, if you have product demo videos, if you have product like intro to department slideshows, if you have like you're gonna have calendar meetings, like there's gonna be like a bunch of different kinds of materials that you can sort of mix into their onboarding journey. So that's what we encourage. We don't just recommend sending them your 75-page PDF employee handbook. If you could chunk that out, or at least encourage your new employee to chunk that out, if they absolutely need to read it before the end of their first week, just suggest breaking it up for them. And then you could even tie in like some fun quizzes too, if you want. Like you can have them book like I used to get employees to book vacation requests, I called them. It's basically fake vacation requests. So they knew how to book vacation. Things like that. If you want like more ideas, like I could totally get creative with you and we can talk about it like more in depth.
Love it. Yeah, we at Gusto, we have just like what we call our playbook, and it's literally a Gusto a Google spreadsheet with links to all the important documents kind of chunked out by department. And so if you're on the sales team, you're only looking kind of at the sales stuff, and then there's like at the very top, it's like really important company-wide ones, and then it just makes it really easy for people to look for exactly what they need. And then we have all of our like policies on a separate spreadsheet. So it's like vacation policy or your learning and development budget policy. And so people can be like, oh, like, how do I take vacation? Like, oh, here's the link for that. It's in the Gusto playbook. And so they can go in and find that really easily without having to have somebody constantly dig through Drive or whatever other organizational system you're using, because let's be honest, those become obsolete pretty quickly.
But if they can't find it, just ask their buddy.
There you go. Yeah. This one comes from Kathy. Does this integrate with any of the HRISs out there? I assume this is a question for you, Lee. Do you integrate with any HRISs out there?
Kathy, what HRIS system do you use?
Maybe you should throw it in chat, but you can reach out to Lee at Bamboo HR. Maybe?
Perfect. Yes. We're building an integration with Bamboo HR right now.
And the other one was HiBob. So looking at Bamboo and HiBob.
Cool. HiBob is second on our list. So yes, we will be integrating with Bamboo and HiBob.
Great. And then we'll kind of go into this last question because we're kind of running out of time. And then we'll kind of wrap things up. So this last question, what are your thoughts about giving living manuals to new employees where new policies and things get updated regularly?
Living manuals? Sorry.
Living manual. So this would be, instead of a PDF doc, like a Google Doc that anytime a change is made, people see those changes. Yeah,
100%. Great idea. PDFs get stale the moment you save them into a PDF. So there are like Notion, for example, or I believe Guru is the other popular one. Yes, strongly recommend Notion or HiBob. Or no, HiBob. Guru. I'm looking at the chat here.
So yeah,
not a good multitasker.
There we go. Awesome. Yeah. And that's, I mean, this is why we do all of our stuff in G Drive, because as soon as it's updated, it's alive for everyone. And so what we do is at the top of every policy and document, we have a little change date. So when was the last time it was updated and who updated it? Just to make sure that it's kind of, and that's the other thing with Google Sheets and Google Drive and Google Forms is you can see who updated it, even if they forget to update that little piece as well. Awesome. All right. Cole asked about timeline for those integrations. Lee, I'm sure you can do that really quickly. Or if you don't want to give a timeline, reach out to Lee. He'll tell you in one-on-one.
Yeah, I'll leave it at that. Good call.
Awesome. Yeah. It's always hard to give deadlines for product updates. Let's be honest here. We all work at companies.
This is being recorded. I can't go on the record.
Awesome. So I just want to say thanks again, everyone, for joining us here today. Thanks to Lee for that awesome presentation, giving all those tips and tricks and sort of just laying out like it's really not expensive to make sure that this happens properly in any organization. So thanks so much. We will be following up with an email with all those templates and links. If you want to learn more about Onboard, reach out to Lee, reference this webinar, and you get 20% off their monthly minimum for anyone who signs up. Gusto does something similar. If you want to reach out to one of our Gusto customer reps, also reference this webinar within the next 48 hours, and we'll give you 50% off a year subscription for using Gusto. So reach out to us, let us know how we can help. And even if you are just want to learn more ways that you can make your employee experience better, we're also happy to just have those conversations. It doesn't have to be a sales call. It can really just be a conversation on how to make culture better. So reach out to Lee or myself or anyone at either organization, and we'd be more than happy to help you out and have that conversation. So thanks again, everyone. Look forward to that email. We'll have the recording, links, tips, all that good stuff. So I just want to say thanks again, everyone. Have a lovely day. And thanks again, Lee, for sharing all these awesome insights.
Thanks so much, Noah. Thanks, everybody. Great to kind of meet you through here.
Yeah. One day we'll be able to do this live with a stage and people sitting in a room. Wouldn't that be nice?
That'd be great. And nerve-wracking at the same time.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a lovely day. And hope to see you next time. Really excited about our next webinar coming up in July. And we'll be posting that soon. So look out for it, but it's going to be a good one. Thanks, everybody.